pride of Easton, Pennsylvania, Michael R., or the scourge of Easton, Pennsylvania, Zipper. Kind of depends on how you feel about his question. I don't feel about questions. I think about questions. Hi, Matt. Here's some questions for Dave. Hi, Dave. I have a few questions about the Pieces of Turtle 8 comic that has been offered. Number one, now that Pieces of Turtle 8.2 is being made, will it be offered in a quick Swordfish Canadian version, then a U.S. version Kickstarter? And I'll start that off by saying I just talked to Alfonso a couple of hours ago, and as far as we know, all of the Pieces of Turtles 8 books, the American edition, have been printed, and I will be signing them tomorrow, or at least starting to sign them, depending on when Rolly is able to get them and put all of the post-it notes on it as to who gets what number, who wants unsigned, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So good news on that. We actually got, Alfonso said we got the last 5 spoonfuls of toner. Evidently, his paper problem has been solved temporarily. Now he's got a toner problem where he can't get toner anywhere. But he made sure that while he was scraping the bottom of the bottles, it was for Pieces of Turtles 8. Anyway, trying to answer Michael's question about Pieces of Turtles 8.2, will it be offered in a quick Swordfish Canadian version? Yes. Then a U.S. version Kickstarter. I'm not announcing it today because we haven't sent out Pieces of Turtles 8, and those haven't started arriving. I got the check from David Birdsong. Thank you, David. Sometime in the last few days, and I'm hanging on to that. That's not going to get deposited until everybody's getting their Pieces of Turtles 8. But this comes to a conversation point of, and since you're the only guy that I'm actually talking to, you're going to have to think fast on this one. Last time we did it a week, wasn't it a week that we said Swordfish Edition would be available?
It was a week, yes.
It was a week. Okay. What do you think about going shorter on that or going longer on that?
If it's going to be the same deal as last time with the similar price point of $25 for 1 or $100 for 10, with the half off if you buy them in bulk, shorter probably would be a really bad idea. Longer would probably be slightly better. Because I bought 10 of them and I sold 8 of my 10. And I mean, it wasn't even like I sold 8 of my 10 having to beat the drum trying to sell them. It was oh yeah, I got 8 of them for sale, and within 2 days I had the money and I was shipping them out. Because I gave Josh even one for free because without if there's one guy on the planet that needs this book, it's him.
That's right. You don't want that's the same as Stephen Gouge with the Spawn 10. It's like the world's biggest Spawn 10 Spawn collector. If there's anybody gets one of these or gets the rare one of these, this is the guy. I actually had some tracing paper with Sarah Spawn sketches on them, and was going, I should send these to Heritage Auctions or do something with them. And it's like, oh hell, Rolly, just wrap them up and send them to Stephen Couch. He'll be happy as a pig, and you know what. And what the heck? He definitely spent a fair amount of money on this Spawn 10. Okay, I hear what you're saying about going longer. Not a lot longer, but
like 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks, I would think would be 14 days. Gives everybody enough time to get the word out. Because it was one of those. The week ended, and I started getting emails from major turtle collectors going, "We just heard about this," and I'm like, "Well, I can help you, but the ninth guy in line is going to be real sad.
Right.
And I told everybody, the American Kickstarter's coming, and as soon as I hear about that, I will beat the drum, and get the marching band together so everybody understands what's happening. And it sounds like that worked. The numbers were way up on the American edition, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
way up being a relative term, I think.
Compared to the Canadian.
But not compared to what Turtles sells ordinarily. I think there's a lot more Turtles collectors out there, which brings me to sort of the other part of my point here, which is if we went shorter, it's what I find kind of funny about this, and this actually skips ahead to another question in some ways. It's this hiding in plain sight thing. I mean, they already know. Okay, we did Pieces of Turtles 8, and then everybody found out about that late. So that, like you said, you bought 10 of them, and you had no problem selling them. You got them for whatever, $12.50 Canadian, and you were able to sell them for $25 US. It's like that's definitely beating the stock market average these days. Double your money overnight. And part of me is thinking this is reminding me of Dan O'Neill with the Air Pirates and the Mouse Liberation Front headquarters, where Disney was driving themselves insane, going, where are these people? We have to find these people and hold them to account. What they're doing with the mouse, you can't do anything with the mouse unless we say so. And look at this, they've done a whole comic book, and where are these people? We have to hunt them down. Get the Disney detectives looking for them. And the whole time, Dan O'Neill at the Mouse Liberation Front headquarters and the address and phone number in the San Francisco phone book. So all they had to do was look up Mouse Liberation Front headquarters in the San Francisco phone book and go, that's where they are. And they never did that. They never found them that way. So there's hiding in plain sight, and then there's ridiculous hiding in plain sight.
Well, didn't the description in the phone book say secret headquarters?
Yes, I think it even did. I think it even had secret headquarters on it. So that's one of those where I'm going, all right, you already knew, you know now that you could buy 10 of these and sell them in a couple of days. So since we're all air pirates here, we're all part of the Mouse Liberation Front. If you're hearing my voice, you're one of the really core of the Cerebus audience, and everybody definitely treats that as a completely mysterious thing. I just heard about this. How can I get in on this? All right, having missed out on Pieces of Turtles 8, it's not like we're making Pieces of Turtles 8.2 a secret. I mean, Michael knows about it. You know about it. You've obviously mentioned it on Moment of Cerebus, right?
Yes.
A lot, or just just coming down the pipeline?
Well, it was the Josh Matt Dow facts that started it with your picks for variant covers, and then the follow up to that where there were 2 or 3 posts about, okay, here's the initial, here's the next fax, I got one more fax to put up, which is the ultimate, the last fax from you about this topic, where I had sent everything everyone had said, and you went, yeah, okay, I don't care. And I mean, cutting to the quick, it was yeah, I don't care about that. Which, okay, hey, I send it up north, and when Grandpa says I don't care about this, guys, well, then we know, okay, we can kick it around the war room as much as we want, but at a certain point, Grandpa doesn't care.
Well, yeah, but it's also still something you can do. I didn't say you can't do this.
Well, I haven't.
It was Grandpa doesn't see Grandpa-sized amounts of money in this, So if you kids really want to do this, go ahead.
And to be fair, I have not posted that fax yet because it was one of those. The Kickstarter's coming to an end, and it's one of those. I haven't even sent it to Josh yet to let him see. Okay, this is what I did. This is Dave's response. This is the lay of the land. We're not saying no. We're not saying yes. Go do this. It's you can make the decision to do it, but understand that you're only going to get rah go team from up north. We're not going to get 36 weekly updates and faxes back and forth and all that. I mean, it's one of those of this is Dave's plan. If you want to get on Dave's plan, here's what the plan is. Any other plan, Dave will fully support morally, but he's not supporting it financially.
And he's not going to use up time on it, has more to do with it than anything else. It's like I am pedal to the metal on Strange Death of Alex Raymond and looking forward to taking some breaks on Service in Hell with a question mark, trying to figure out what to do with 227 pictures of Cerebus with the turtles or Cerebus with a turtle or the turtles with a really nice Gerhardt sewer. I mean, that's not something you're going to hear me say all the time, but it's a really nice Gerhardt sewer that he put in behind the turtles. It's like, it's great. It's great. As far as I'm concerned, as far as Josh Eman is concerned, is this something that is worth investing time in going, okay, what do we cut this down to from 227? And what do we cut it down to? And what do we, which ones do we pick? And how do we tie this in with Hero Alliance? It's like I'm more than happy to sign off on it, which, like you say, it's one of those. It's a much happier day when it's like Dave Sim going, yeah, let's go full bore on this. Let's I'll send you as many posts as I did on Trailblazers and try and make them as interesting as I possibly can. It's I could do that, but there's only so many hours in the day, and this is where I'm putting the hours in. This is sort of the closest I can come to that. Here's 7 that I'm going to pick out. Pitch these people on the deal. If they just go either no or I'm not really getting this, with the one guy going, yeah, I mean, what are you talking about? Of course I want to do this. I have to print stuff and put it out on my table at comic book conventions. Are you kidding? Having my cover on a Cerebus Turtles thing? That's exactly what you want. This will stop somebody in their tracks and go, oh, what's this? Even if they're not interested in anything else on my table. And it's like, okay, that was the idea that I had behind it. If you don't get that, okay, I'm not here to talk you into it. I'm not going to, type out a 10-page explanation of why I think this is a good idea for you. It's like I would like to do something with this, if only for Josh's sake. That I think this would be really cool. I don't think anybody's going to bother him about printing his collection of Cerebus Turtles pictures. It's like, how much money has he got sunk into this? How great are these pieces by, X number of guys? You're never going to see this again. So Viacom's got a lot more on their plate right now, post-pandemic and everything else, trying to figure out how to keep their business model functioning. They're not going to be concerned about this. Nobody's concerned about that kind of stuff anymore, I don't think. So, getting back to what I'm saying is, what if we just made it 2 hours You can only get pieces of turtles 8 point to the Canadian Swordfish Edition. We're going hardcore swordfish on this one. It's like, not only do you have to have the swordfish password, but you got to be right there in this 2-hour window and buy as many of them as you can possibly afford to buy, and then turn around and jack up the price and sell it to everybody else that didn't even find out about the 2-hour window. Why shouldn't we do that? Why shouldn't we do that for the people who are going to go, yeah, are you kidding? I'll if it's, there's only 2 hours and you tell me 3 weeks ahead of time when the 2 hours are, hey, I'm there. Because this is Michael R.'s question. Michael R. will be there, right?
Well, we're hoping. I mean, my first thought was, well, we should make it 4 hours because there's 4 turtles, and then the little voice in the back of the head went, well, it's turtles number 8, so how about 8 hours? And then another little part went, no, 2 hours makes sense because it's if you're not there at noon, you're not getting one.
Right. So, me having made that pitch to you now, what do you think of that idea?
I think Margaret Liss is going to be driving across the border with a hockey stick and your name in her. I mean, high sticking, Dave. She's going to high stick you. I'm just saying. I mean, on the one hand,
she's going to get a 2-minute or 5-minute penalty depending on how severe the high sticking is. I'm not concerned about that.
I mean, I can see lots of people being real unhappy, but if I have enough money on my credit card, it's not going to be a problem for me.
Right.
It's going to be a problem for the people. Oh, I take it back. It will be a problem for me because when I go to the post office to mail the media mail, I always draw a turtle head or a service head wearing a turtle mask and say, please do not bend, fold, or mutilate. And the lady at the post office thinks it's hilariously awesome and loves that I do that.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, I know. Everybody gets this head sketch on their package, at least one, probably two, because I'm very adamant of, and I'm polite. On the back, I always put, dear postal person, please, please, please do not bend, fold, and mutilate.
Right.
Because they ask, is there anything fragile? And I'm like, well, it says right there, and they're going, well, okay, yeah, What is it? It's a comic book. And they look at me like, how is that fragile? I'm thinking, you don't know.
Right.
But
right.
as long as I can...
you'll just have to take my word for it. This has to get where it's going with, as if it was a Ming Dynasty vase of some kind. You ever watch The Simpsons with comic book guys? Trying to explain it to them. Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll leave that for the time being, as I haven't even signed Pieces of Turtles 8 yet, and Rolly hasn't packaged them, let alone mailed them. So we've got that window of opportunity. There will be plenty of warning time to say, okay, we're coming up on the point where we're going to have to decide about this. Get some feedback on Moment of Cerebus as to what's the shortest that you think that we should do and what's the longest that you think that we should do. It's like, the way I look at it is, it was the same thing as I had, a bunch of mailing labels for different people to send them a proof copy of Pieces of Turtles 8 to say, this is coming up as a Kickstarter. You might want in on this. Dealers that I know would want in on that. And then I went, no, why not just sell it to the people who are actually always showing up instead of alerting the people who are never here? Which, nothing against them. It's like, pretty much everybody on the planet except 85 people are never here. And you can't really blame the entire planet full of people for not listening to please hold for Dave Sim, because there might be something that they could buy that they could double their money on.
I mean, I can't make the decision for Service fandom because I'm supposed to be Service fan. You know, Dave, I'm fighting for the fans. When at the same time, it's like, hey, I mean, the first one, it was quote unquote swordfish. We're not supposed to talk about it, and I kept hinting strongly that you really need to listen to this month's Please Hold, and for a week, and finally at one point I was like, there's this exclusive thing that you can only get at this time, and it goes bye-bye tomorrow, and if you don't get one, don't complain to me. And totally blew the swordfish part out of it, and still the first one only had how many? I mean, so...
yeah.
At a certain point, like, it's the same thing with the Indiegogo thing for the Form and Void Kickstarter. Like, I've been talking about this for 2 weeks, every post I can. Like, hey, there's a Kickstarter. Hey, Form and Void's coming back to print. Hey, you can get it from Diamond next month, but if you want the other cover or a hardcover or have it signed by Dave and Gerhard, you gotta go now. And the next day after it ends, what do I get? Hey, I just heard about this.
Right.
I
mean, you intentionally bought the 10 copies so that you could have them for the people that you knew were going to do that, which is what happened.
And it's one of those, at a certain point, I mean, as I always think about when these things happen, of I can lead a horse to water. I can get the horse right up next to the river, but sticking their heads in doesn't get any water down their throat if they don't want it.
Right.
So
right.
Two days later...
What is my obligation in terms of relocating horses to water, and then how do you force feed them the water? It's like, if you want a drink, go and get a drink. I'm not your mother horse. I'm not your father horse. I'm not your grandpa horse.
I mean...
Let me get even stranger here. What if Pieces of Turtles 8.2 has a $50 cover price instead of $25, and everybody who goes for the swordfish deal gets them for $25 for a single copy, and still gets the 10 copies for $125, but it's got a $50 cover price. Then you can turn around and go, well, it's got a $50 cover price on it. Do you want one?
Well, the only concern I have is that the first one was Superman number 75, which nobody knew what it was, nobody knew what a big deal it was, and when the slow news day happened, when they said, oh, by the way, we killed Superman, everybody wanted a copy. And I'm afraid that 8.2 could turn into Adventures of Superman 500, where they announced months ahead of time, hey, he's coming back in this one, it's just like 75. Do you want a copy? Do you want 10 copies? Do you want 20 copies? And that book is in quarter bins across the country now because everybody wanted a copy, and there were enough copies for everybody. It's so, on the one hand, I don't want to price gouge too badly, because what happens when, okay, it's only 2 hours and 8,000 people buy 10 copies each.
Right.
I mean,
right.
On the one hand, Dave would be very, very happy.
Yeah, and part of what Dave would be very, very happy about is Cerebus fans being able to buy something for $12.50 Canadian and turn around and sell it a week later for $50 US, or 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later. It's Pieces of Turtles 8, I don't think, has even hit the Turtles market, per se, in the way that it's likely to. Maybe not, next week, and maybe not 6 months from now, but pretty soon it's going to be, how do I get one of these? Well, it's like, you just have to keep your eyes open. There are people who have them, but they're not selling them right now. So I'm going to leave it at that. In terms of, I think this is worth talking about because, again, there's at least, I would say, 2 weeks, 18 days, 19 days before people will be getting their pieces of Turtles 8 in the mail, which is when I will be comfortable saying, okay, now we can start talking about 8.2, the Canadian version, which will be the same deal. There's just 2 buttons at Cerebus Downloads. Here's 1 copy. Here's 10 copies. I don't know. What if I said, okay, here's 3 buttons. You can get 1 for $25, 10 for $125, or 50 for I don't know. What does the price go down to at that point? It's one of those, until you close off any of these rabbit holes, we're just completely surrounded by rabbit holes on this thing. So it's brand new to you today, and it'll be brand new to everybody else who's listening to this. And I'm probably talking about it way too much. So we'll move on to part 2 of the question. Will all of the pieces of Turtles 8 versions be offered again in the future TMNT Service number 8 Kickstarter? I don't think so. Or will they be offered in the TMNT Service number 8 Kickstarter in a different form, like a complete single volume, separate from the remastered TMNT number 8 comic with a question mark? No, I don't think so on that one. Or will they be combined into one huge hardcover book combining all the pieces with all the remastered TMNT Service number 8 comic book content? And I don't think so on that one. And by way of explanation, it's when I realized that Turtles number 8 is 45 pages long, it's like, well, the natural thing is to do a 48-page comic book and just have 3 pages of additional material. And I've got more than that to say about Turtles 8, Kevin and Peter, the Northampton Summit, various other things where it's like I don't have to go too far into the Cerebus archive mentally, or start shuffling around through stuff before it's like, yeah, there's stuff that I have to say about this that I would really like to say and have people read it. But I can't just write everything that I have to say, and then if Waverly ends up doing the Turtles 8 Kickstarter, then it's, well, okay, probably most of this will be, this isn't Dagan's idea of what this should be. Here, this should be in the Turtles 8 remastered edition. This should be in there. This should be in there. That shouldn't be in there. That shouldn't be in there. That shouldn't be in there. Well, okay, that's Dagan's call to make as the guy who's publishing it. But as the guy who is remembering Turtles 8 as one of the participants, no, all of that stuff should be in there. This is the top of the line. This is what I have to say about Turtles 8 and Kevin and Peter. And okay, we'll just make this for the core audience. Again, that's where the whole swordfish idea came from. It's like I could probably do one of those a week for the next year, and the absolute core Cerebus fans would go broke buying them. But yeah, as long as Dave has more that he has to say about Kevin and Peter, I'm a Cerebus completist. Turtles 8 is probably the biggest deal. It would be a competition between that and Spawn 10 as to this is how the comic book field knows Dave Sim's work, knows Cerebus. I got to have this. First of all, because I'm a completist and I've got to have all of this stuff. But second of all, because I'm curious. what does Dave Sim have to say about this? What is the when you kick Dave Sim in the middle of the night and go, Kevin and Peter, what does Dave Sim come up with? And that's so I can't picture that all of this will be collected in any form. It's just here you go. Here's what I have to say. I don't think I'm at the bottom of the barrel with 8.2, which 8.2 is already done. 16 pages filled up in a hurry. But I've thought of a few things since then that I'd like to talk about that too. So there might be an 8.3. I don't know. But at some point, then it's going to be, okay, this is the remastered TMNT number 8 comic. What are we going to do? It's really going to come down to how many covers are, because that's just the way the game is played. And it's like, I would definitely like to not have as many covers as there were on Spawn 10. I would like to have a finite number of covers, but depending on what comes up, that Josh Evans collection, those 227 pictures, there's at least 34 top of the line pictures there, which gets into, well, there's different ways to do this. We can do them as postcards. Yeah, we can do them as postcards. We can do them as giant postcards. We can do them as prints. That's one of the reasons that I threw all of that up ahead to January of next year, so that it's like, well, okay, I just want to do turtle stuff right now. I don't want to be figuring out, okay, well, where do you cross the line from pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered on Turtles 8. That's a question for November, December 2022. Right now, it's just, here's a 16-page thing that I'm doing. Here's the first things off the top of my head. Oh, I got to put this in. Oh, I got to put this in. I have to keep reminding myself to do the story about the autograph. Donatello, who the hell are Kevin and Peter? I keep forgetting to even go and look at the Guide to Self-Publishing. Where is that? And how long is the actual story? So already, if I'm going to do that, that's got to be an 8.3. And that's, I'm not really worried about it right now. I'm trying to give everybody, full value for their money, which I think happened with Pieces of Turtles 8. And I'm not somebody who troubles himself about somebody turning around and selling something for twice what they paid for it. It's almost impossible to make money in 2022 unless you're somebody, way at the top of the mountain. And none of us are way at the top of any mountains. So, okay, every once in a while, you do get something where, yeah, I think you'll probably be able to make some money off of this if you've got enough walking around money to buy 10 of them for $125. It's, as an economist said, it's like, wow, you really won't be undersold. And, Happy Dave's bargain Pieces of Turtles 8 warehouse. Line up over here.
The only problem with Josh's collection that I sent you was that Oliver was doing his Sunday column where he goes around the internet, grabs all the service-related stuff he can find, sends it to me, and I make the column, post it. So I have this file on my external hard drive of all the images he sends me, and when it was time to send Josh's collection, I'm like, open it up. Well, there's a picture of a turtle. There's a picture of a turtle. And sent it to you, and you named one of them. I forget which one it is. And I sent it the fax to Josh, and Josh came up with, I don't think I have that one. I'm like, oh, that's right. There's a couple that Oliver just found that he said, these aren't for Josh, these are somebody else's. And I'm not going to look to figure out which one's which. I'll burn that bridge when I get to it.
Right, right. Or just go, that's somebody else's bridge, which is what I did, was to say, no, I can see this opening up into, what sort of fresh hell is this? And it's like, well, okay, you walked into it with your eyes open, Grandpa. Don't complain to me. That's why I sort of went, no, this is how I'm doing it. If we can contact these people directly or indirectly, hey, are you up for this? If you're not, that's fine. We'll only have 2 people that were interested, and we'll know that when 8.2 is ready to be done. Is okay? Do we even have a decision that we have to make on this?
Well, and that's one of the things I think is going to end up happening is if a couple guys do variant covers of 8.2 and sell out of them to the point where it's like, they're going back to print like an original Turtles comic from the 80s of, hey, they're gone, we need more. Maybe some of the other guys that have passed on it will come back to, well, I guess I can do one. And then, okay, hey, go to town. We'll give you the PDF. You can go to your local printer. You can go through Alfonso. The deal's there, but there's no hard feelings for people saying no, and there's no hard feelings for people coming back afterward, going, oh, hey, I guess I want to make some money.
Yeah, and the other thing on my side, of course, is like I know that a lot of people really doubt this Dave Sim Le Riv thing, the antiviral. Dave Sim things go out about 3 inches and then drop to the floor and die. And it's like, well, I think this is a good case in point where theoretically we could have, 227 variant covers. If this was a viral thing, because it's Le Riv, we will be lucky to have 2 or 3. And it's like, I think that makes my case for, no, when you're canceled in our society, you stay canceled. I mean, you're going to have to do a lot of hustling, even to, keep your head above water. You're never going to be rich because, canceled is canceled in our society. It's like, oh, no, it's not like that. Oh, everybody has so much respect for you. Everybody always has nice things to say about you. And it's like, no, it's Le Riv. It doesn't go anywhere. I mean, one of the backers going, hey, I remember talking to you 10 years ago about hardcovers, and it's like, over my dead body, you'll have to wait until Eddie Conant takes over and see if he wants to do hardcovers. And it's like, and now here I am buying a hardcover. And it's like, yeah, because I'm down to a handful of things that I can do that will actually make money. I am still being starved to death by the feminists. Let's not kid ourselves what is actually going on here. So, but we can have some fun with it, which is what I'm doing here, is let's have some fun with Le Riv. Let's have some fun with other cartoonists who have done Cerebus and Turtles pictures. Let's see what happens with 8.2. We're not there yet. We've got plenty of time to run around like chickens with our head cut off at a moment of Cerebus, screaming about how many different skies are falling because of Dave Sim, which is, one of our favorite things to do around here. Okay, moving on to MJ Sewell asks, in the backup